hello, good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. Welcome back to Crafters TV. We have a fabulous masterclass for you today. It's going to be back to basics, so we're talking about all sorts of different bits and pieces. Message in with any questions that you may have. It may be a product we haven't got on this particular show, but if there's something that you've been wondering about how to use, you're not too sure how to use it, whether you need it, whether you want it, message in. We've got lovely Lily here. She'll be able to give you some advice, let you know the type of thing that you might need. Earlier on in the show this morning, we did Colour Me Happy. We had lots of information about all of our pens as well. So if you're not too sure about what pens you want to buy, just message in. Let us know what you're doing this weekend. Hopefully you're having a lovely one. We do have some special deals for you. So we do have the Riddle Me This riddle that we've got on the show. So we've had a different riddle every day for a week. So each day there's been an item that comes out of this riddle that you can put into the search term in our website, and it will bring up that particular page with a really good deal on it. So we had one yesterday. Hopefully you did get it. If you didn't, have a look at some of the messages that were sent in from that show. You'll be able to find out what that was. But then if you don't, if it carries on until midnight tonight, if you did do yesterday, can't speak. If you did do yesterday's and you want to know what today's is, here is the riddle for you to work it out. Workmen use me to build and fix. Crafters need me too for those paper craft tricks. I'm essential for all of your crafty makes, but don't blame me for any mistakes. What am I? Quite a tricky one today, I think. It's not, obviously I know the answer, but it's a little bit tricky. We also have the lovely Lily here today. Hello Lily, how are you doing?
Good afternoon, I'm very well, thank you. Really looking forward to this masterclass. We're going right back to basics, lots of different techniques. I think it's going to be a good one.
Fantastic. Looking forward to what we're going to be having on today, because we're doing flower forming later on, and I love flower forming, so I'm quite excited about that. Do you remember we do have our penny sale on the website as well? So if you have a look at the website, you'll be able to buy an item and get another item for just £1. There were some great deals on there, and there were also some, I think there was a 12 by 12 paper pad on there as well, so that is definitely worth grabbing while you can, so have a look on that as well. So we're going to show you all the bits and pieces we've got coming up on the show later on today. So the first item we've got is our Learn to Flower Form with a flower forming foam. So in here you'll get your stamens. You'll get two different types of flower forming foam, one in green and one in like the floral colours, and you're going to get two sets of two sets of dies in order to make these flowers. Now this is a fabulous price. This should be would be £30, $40, but your platinum price is £24 or $32. Definitely worth popping in your basket today if you want to learn how to do that. The next item is your Learn Edgeables bundle. So we've got all sorts of things in here to work out how to use these Edgeables. You've got your die in here, you've got your ink pads, you've got your braille, you've got some card in there as well, and you've also got your blending tool as well. This price is £30, $40. Platinum price is £24 or $32. The next bundle we have is Learn Double-Sided Dies. We have your pokey tools in here. You've got card. You've also got your different dies in here in order to learn how to do this. And we're going to be going through all of these throughout the masterclass to show you how to use these. This is great if you've been sort of teaching on the cusp of buying any of these items and not too sure what you actually need. We put everything you need into that bundle. £30, $40, or platinum price is £24 or $32. The next item we have is Learn Colouring with Tri-Blends. So you've got some of your cards, you've got your stamping platform, you've got inks, you've got a stamp, and you've also got your Tri-Blends. Again, your platinum price is £24 or $32. Your next bundle is Learn Embossing. So you have your gilding wax there, you've got card, you've got some embossing folders as well for you to use. If you've been watching the show in Colour Me Happy, we had some other fantastic embossing folders on there as well, but this will give you all the little bits and pieces you need to get you started on embossing. So this is again £24 or $32, and that's your platinum price. Your next bundle is Learn to Blend. So it's great that we put all these bits and pieces together for you so you can understand, get all the bits and pieces you need to get started on this. You've got your different kinds of cards, plain white cardstock, you've got your inks, you've got your blending tool, you've also got some additional pads to put on your blending tool, and some pence. Can't quite see that over,
Misters.
too far away. So you've got those again for £24, $32, and that's your platinum price there. So we're going to go straight over to Lily with some flower forming. Looking forward to seeing this.
Absolutely, I love a bit of flower forming. For me, it's one of those I love to sit on an evening, just make lots and lots of pretty flowers.
Yep.
Even if you've not got a specific project in mind, it's nice to have a little box that you can pop all your ready-made flowers in. Then when you do have a need for them, when you've got a card that's got that little bit missing, something you need to finish it off, then you can pull out all your ready-made flowers that you've already made and you can finish off your card beautifully. But we're going to actually do a little bit of home decor for this first project, and I'm bringing in obviously the flower forming bundle that we've got on today's show, and we're using the Clover die sets and the lily, but of course I've got to use the lily die set first off, don't I?
Absolutely, you couldn't. It'd be rude not to.
It would be, wouldn't it? And I love these dies because we get so many different layers within the one set. So we get lots of different sizes of the petals that we can layer together to create really dimensional and really realistic looking flowers if we want. But of course, we are using our flower forming foam here even, but don't just think about your foam. You can be using these with paper and cardstock as well. So they're just normal dies really, so it doesn't mean that you can only use them with foam. You can use them with anything that you've got in your crafty stash. I'm thinking vellum with these will be fabulous. Maybe a little bit of glitter in the centre of your vellum flowers would look amazing. Tissue paper would be great as well. Obviously you can cut through lots of layers of that at once. But with your foam we say up to about 8 layers at any one pass. So when you are building up your bouquets,
Wow.
I know our Michelle has managed to do 8 before. So yeah, I tend to do between about 3 and 4. I've done 2 layers here, but you can cut quite a few at once. So if you are batch making, because after all, when we are making our flowers, it's those layers that make them look really special. We get that full effect. So it is great that we can cut through several layers at once. It just makes it a little bit quicker. So all we've got here is we've die cut our flowers, and then it's just a case of popping them out the die, nice and easy. And then what you'll find with your foam is it does sort of get compressed as it goes through the die cutting machine. But this is actually quite a good thing, so it's starting off that process of sort of flattening the petals a little bit so that when we come to shape it, it'll be nice and easy to shape. So we've got our 2 layers of that size. We've got our 2 layers of the slightly smaller size. So like I said, they are ever so slightly compressed. So it's just a case of just teasing them apart. And once they're apart, you can see we've got that beautiful quality foam. And of course, this is specialised foam specifically for our flower forming. It's not the sort of regular foam that you might have known. I think we could tend to call it funky foam. It's very different to that. It's very thin, it's very lightweight. It doesn't add a lot of weight to your cards and projects that you're making. And it's been designed specifically to be shaped by hand. And of course you can use different methods of heating. We're going to use an iron in just a moment, but first of all what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of inking onto here. I tend to use my quick dry ink pads with my flower forming foam, just because I find you get slightly less inky fingers. If you're working with a quick dry ink, obviously as the name suggests, it dries quickly, so it just means you can move on to the next area and the ink will be dried, so you're less likely to get quite as mucky fingers. I mean, when you are shaping your foam that's had ink added onto it, you will of course get a little bit of ink on your fingers, but of course with it being a water-based ink it will just wash off, so it's no problem at all really. And all we're doing is we've used some of the foam that is within the bundle. We do have extra bundles of foam on today's show if you are looking to stock up, but I've used some of that foam that's within the collection, and we're taking some of our quick dry ink, this is lemon tonic, and we're just adding it around the petals to start to add some colour. And then to add even more sort of depth and dimension and interest to these petals, what we're going to do is we're going to take our fuchsia, again our quick dry ink, and just on the very edges we're just going to touch the edges of these petals with our fuchsia ink, just to add even more colour and interest, like I say, onto the edges of here. Of course you could be using your white foam and colouring it completely yourself, so you can get custom coloured flowers in any sort of finish you like. Of course these could be fantasy flowers, you don't have to worry about them looking realistic at all. It's completely up to you. That's the great thing about when you're creating your own flowers, you can really go to town with your colour combinations and just mix them up a little bit. What we're going to bring in now is we're going to bring in our iron. Now this is just a regular iron, just a household iron, nothing fancy at all. You can use a small travel iron. You might find that a little bit easier in terms of size. I mean, this is quite a large iron, but it will still work perfectly. We take our petal and just take care, because obviously the iron will be hot, and just hold that against the iron. Then as it starts to like curl up a little bit, take it off the iron, then straight onto your flower shaping mat, grab your ball tool and then just shape in the centre. So really, really simple. And what using the iron does is it allows us to get some heat onto there so that we can shape our petal really, really easily, because it's almost like heat activated foam. So once we start to heat it up, I mean, you can use the heat of your hands, but you'll find it's a lot quicker and a lot easier to get that heat onto there using your iron. So,
in the iron, or?
Yeah, just a nice low setting onto your iron. It doesn't need to be anything too hot, but just enough to warm that foam. So as you see, it starts to sort of move and shape a little bit, then that is enough heat applied, and then just get it straight onto your foam shaping mat with your ball tool and start to shape it. And you can see very easily we've started to add some shape into those layers. So I'm just going to move my iron out of the way for just a moment, and we're going to bring in our hot glue gun. Of course, our Crafter's Companion hot glue gun, absolutely perfect for all your foam. A question we get asked an awful lot when it comes to our flower forming is what glue is best to use, and I much prefer to use my hot glue gun whenever I can. It's instant. I know it's going to stick perfectly every single time. And it's nice and easy. You can use, some people like to use a nail glue. I must say I'm not a big fan of using a nail glue, but you can use that if you prefer, or quite a lot of people as well like to use our Collal 3D glue gel, which does work a treat, but you do just have to wait a moment for it to dry. So it depends how impatient you are. I must say I much prefer the hot glue because it is instant. I mean, pretty much as soon as I've popped that down onto there, it's now stuck. So nice and easy. Just to finish that off, it looks really quite nice as it is, but it's kind of sort of missing a little bit of something into the centre. So all we're going to do is going to take some of our stamens, and we do have these within the bundle as well. You could be adding pearls or gems or beads or anything like that to the centre of your flowers, but I think the stamens just give it a really nice finishing touch.
Yeah.
And all we've done is we've added some wire through the centre of there. That just helps us thread the stamens through. Once we've completed that, we don't need the wire anymore, so I just tend to snip the end off of our stamens, and then before I stick it to my project, especially if I'm not sticking this onto a project straight away and I'm actually going to pop it perhaps in a box to store it, I'll just seal the edges of those stamens with a little bit of hot glue around there, so that I know that that's not going anywhere. And it will be nicely stuck. And that's how easy it is to create one of our lilies. Super simple technique, a little bit of shaping, a little bit of inking, brings that together really nicely. I'd like to show you now how we can use our Clover die set to create something a little bit different in terms of the shaping of our petals. So we've got a few of these cut out already using some of our foam. And similar sort of idea, we're going to heat up the foam using our iron. Just move that so we can actually see what we're doing. There we go. And then add a little bit of shape, but instead of using our foam shaping mat, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our petal distress tool, or finger toboggan, or finger clog, that's the one. And all we're going to do, get your finger clog on your finger, get your little mat underneath, and all it is just a case of giving that a little rub to...
Oh, you see, I've seen this before, but not actually seen it being used. I've just seen it as part of a bundle. It's really
easy.
effective.
All it is literally just popping the clog on your finger.
And there's a sentence we never thought
pop
to
the clog
say.
on your finger. Pop the clog on your finger and just give it a little bit of a shape.
Yeah.
And by heating your foam first, like the same as if we're shaping using a ball tool, it's sort of just... Don't exactly know how it works. I'm sure it's very, very technical, but it just allows us to get that shape really, really easy. It makes almost like the foam a little bit more malleable, if you like. And you can see you've started to distress those petals really easily. I was going to add some ink to this to start with, but never too late. We can always add ink first. I do always find it's easier to actually ink before you shape, but you can still ink afterwards. We don't want to ink it perfectly anyway. I mean, after all, if you looked at a flower, it wouldn't have sort of perfectly coloured edges. There would be areas where it's there's no colour areas where there's more colour.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it too much. With these I will ink beforehand because I have remembered for these ones, but it just goes to show if you do forget to ink, or perhaps you change your mind, perhaps you think, oh, I don't need any ink on these ones, and then you go to shape it and you think, I think it does need a little bit of colour, then at least you know you've still got that option where you can add that colour afterwards if you feel it still needs it. I find the finger daubers are brilliant for this technique, but if you do have the blending sponges that are in that bundle, or even your sort of, I always call them sponges on a stick, you know, the round and the square, those will work fine as well. So it's just completely up to you what you've got in your stash. So we've added our ink to those now, and then I'm going to do the same sort of technique. So I'm going with my largest petal first, and then I'm slipping on my clog, and then just give it a little bit of a distress. And just by the way you shape your petals gives it a totally different look every single time. You could use the same flower die set, perhaps even the same colour of foam, and perhaps even the same colour of ink and the same stamens, but just by changing up the way that you actually shape those petals, it's going to look completely different every single time you go to craft with them. And I think that's a great thing about when you're creating your own flowers. I mean, yes, we're very lucky these days in the craft industry. There's so many ready-made embellishments we can buy. Can pick them up quite easily nowadays, but it's so much more enjoyable to actually create your own embellishments for your cards, and it just means that everything's going to be matching absolutely perfectly. So I'm going to pop my iron to one side now before we burn ourselves, but do just always take care when you are using your iron, and like I say, a travel iron is quite a good one to go for.
It doesn't take up so much space either, does it, on your craft
I mean,
table?
let's be honest, we're crafters, space is a premium. We never get enough space.
If we've got more space, we should be buying more craft supplies.
Absolutely, that's pretty much my life motto. If I can see part of my table at home, that's a problem, you know. I'm either not got enough stuff or I'm not busy enough, so you can not really see much of the table. I sort of have enough of my glass mat exposed so I can actually work. But apart from that, there's stuff left, right and centre. But that is definitely the fun of crafting. It's just getting all your goodies out, having a look at what you've got and just having a play. And that's what I love about when I get a new collection home, whether it's like a Nature's Garden collection or a collection of dies or whatever it might be. I like to lay them out all over the floor and just have a look at what I've got and then just decide what your first project is going to be. But just gluing these layers together, so a little bit of hot glue in the centre of each of the petals, and we just start to layer them up, and then as we start to layer that up, you can see how pretty that is. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what clover actually looks like. I always think of like a 4-leaf clover.
Yeah, me too.
But I can't imagine it looks like that, but that's the beauty of creating.
I think a clover flower is it's almost sort of like a pom-pom, isn't it?
Oh.
Isn't it like that?
I'm not sure.
I think it's quite, it's quite bulbous as a, so that would make sense, plenty of blooms on it. Plenty of,
but that's the beauty of making your own flowers. You don't have to make them look like whatever they're supposed to be. I mean, the colours of this I think are absolutely gorgeous, but perhaps not quite so true to nature. But that is what we love about creating our own flowers. We can make them look exactly how we want them to. We can make them match to our project. So we can see that is creating our clover. So we created our lily to start with, and then we've got our clover. But we're going to pop those to one side for just a moment, and we're going to start to build up our plaque. So I did say we're going to create a little bit of home decor. Okay. So what we've done is we've got some of our mount board from Crafter's Companion, and we've just, and you will find that on the website, of course. We've just cut it down into almost like a label sort of shape, a bit of a shield, a bit of a pennant type shape, so something a little bit different, just as a point of difference, rather than just having it as a square or rectangle or even a circle. Just trimming it into a different shape will give you a nice effect onto there. And then we've got some pattern paper. This is from our Sarah signature Dancing Dragonfly, one of my absolute favourites at the moment. I just love these papers, and we're going to pop that into the centre. So just a little bit of the white around the outside showing, and I did use my tacky glue just to stick that onto there, and it's going to give us a nice strong bond. With it being onto mount board, we want a nice strong adhesive onto there, just like so. And then we're going to bring in a sentiment. So I've taken some of my Sentiment stamps, these are our friends for life, which you should find on the website. I've stamped it onto one of our nesting dies. This is some of our multi-purpose card, and just to take the white edge off of it, because it looks a little bit too stark, by adding that straight onto there, we're going to pop a little bit of blue ink just around the edges using our round blending tool, just going around in circular motions just to frame it with that lovely blue ink. Just sort of draws the eye into the middle, and like I say, it takes that really stark white harsh edge off of that die cut, and it just makes everything blend together and match a little bit better. And then we're going to take some foam pads. You know I do love a good foam pad, a little bit of dimension on my makes, just to make it stand proud from our backing piece. And then just going to remove the backing, and of course you will find lots of our foam pads and adhesives on the website if you're looking to stock up. And we're going to make sure this is nice and straight, so we're going to line it up so it's about in the centre, making sure it's nice and straight and level. That looks about good enough to me. And then we're going to bring in our flowers. So I've created lots more of the flowers that we've just popped together, and we're going to start to lay these down. So I'd always say when you are doing your compositions, definitely sort of lay everything out, have a little look how everything's looking to start with before you then start sticking stuff down. But I've got a good idea where mine are going to go, so I'm just going to go for it. So we're going to start with one of our lily flowers in the centre. And we have just for the leaves, all we've done is we've used, instead of using a different leaf die set, because if this is the only, the first time you're trying your foam flowers, perhaps you don't have any other leaf dies in your stash, and that's absolutely fine. You can still get brilliant results just from this bundle, just from the foam that we've got in there and the 2 sets of dies. So what we've done, instead of using a leaf die, we've used the lily die set, and we've used actually the lily petals as our leaves. So we are using for the lily flowers, we've used the paler colour of foam, and then for the other flowers, our clover, we've used our darker foam onto there, just for a little bit of variety. It's nice to have different shades of green onto there. It just sort of mixes it up a little bit. So what we're doing is we're having a lily flower in the centre, then we're having a clover, and then another lily at the edge. So we sort of got that mirror image on both sides of our arrangement.
And again, these flowers would be amazing for like headdresses for weddings, or corsages, decorating a hat for ascot maybe, going to the races. There's all sorts of things you could do with these, not just paper crafting, aren't there? Absolutely. I mean, lots of people are sort of going to festivals and all that sort of thing at the moment. This will be perfect. I mean, who else is going to have a headband that's got this sort of decoration on? Just makes you stand out a little bit, and you've got the fun element of actually being able to create them yourself. But of course you can be using these for lots and lots of different projects. Like we're doing here, we're thinking home decor. Of course you can use them on your cards because they don't add very much weight at all. I must say the first time I ever used this foam, I was surprised by how lightweight it actually is. So it doesn't add a lot of weight, whereas some embellishments that you can buy are quite weighty. So you can use these for your cards without them sort of toppling over. We've all been there, haven't we? We've added far too many embellishments, then we've gone to stand it up and it just topples over, and then you have to try and find a way of balancing it out. But it won't be the case with these flowers because they don't add very much weight at all, even when you've got plenty of them onto your finished projects. And then I'm not sure, I'm thinking I might add, just to finish it off, a couple more leaves either side. So all I've done here is I've just taken that same lily die, but I've actually just chopped it in half to get rid of a couple of the petals. I was going to say, well, they are petals, yeah, but we're using them as leaves, just to make that a little bit smaller so it fits into this area a little bit better. It's always important to try and add leaves to your compositions. It just sort of finishes it off and makes it look a lot more natural. I think Corinne always describes it as sort of grounding your compositions, but that's how we do that. But then to finish that off, we just need a little hanging element. After all, it is a plaque, so we do need something to hang it up with. And in this case, we've chosen some nice jute twine just for a nice natural look to our project. So we're just going to add that onto the left hand side, a little bit of red liner tape. If you do want to cover this, perhaps add another layer of sort of that shield shape. Oh dear, a bit of a tongue twister there. I should be careful saying that at this time on a Sunday afternoon. That lovely pennant shape.
We could add another layer over the back, but because this would be attached to a wall, you wouldn't really be seeing the reverse, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. But adding our red liner tape onto the back of there will hold it quite nicely.
That's
but
lovely.
how easy is it to create our flowers? I mean, I showed you the technique of creating one. It's just a case of repeating that same technique to build up all those flowers onto there, but something a little bit different onto our flower forming.
That's absolutely stunning. Really, really beautiful. I like that a lot. Well done. Lots of people messaging in saying good morning. I'll run through them very quickly. Alicia says good morning and greetings from Arkansas. I need this refresher. I have some dies I haven't opened yet. Alison says good morning everyone from Brooklyn. Georgiana says hello. Hi Becky, Lily and Lily from Clearwater. Jeffrey says good day Becky and Lily from all CTV crew and crafty folks joining us today. Shireen says hello from East York. Sarah Brown, hello again everyone from Melbourne, Australia. I'm in bed now enjoying the show. Stamping in hand, good morning from Missouri. Terry, good morning. Violet, Sylvia, Mary Pat, good morning. Loads of people messaging in. We have had some questions. A few questions. Can you use parchment paper or vellum for making the flowers?
Absolutely, it looks amazing. Yeah, definitely.
And in fact, I think last Thursday, we had a vellum masterclass, and Debbie did use some of the dies for that. So have a look at that. Jill says, I know we're looking at flower forming, but I have a question about alcohol markers. When I'm using the Fair Skin blend, it seems like it pulls out a tiny bit of black from the stamped image, and I'm using my alcohol-proof ink pad. Is there a reason for that?
Are you using, so you're using your alcohol-proof ink pad, have you got a piece of scrap cardstock underneath the piece you're colouring into?
Right.
Because occasionally what can happen is it's almost like the ink, if you're colouring onto your glass mat, the ink's got nowhere to go, so it can sometimes end up coming back through your stamped image and it can cause bleeding. So make sure when you are colouring, underneath the piece you're colouring onto, just get a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be Nina cardstock, it could just be cheap scrap paper, but make sure you've always got a non-porous surface underneath, not something like your glass mat, and that could be what it is.
Okay, lovely. Suzanne says, what happens if we just use our finger without a clog? I never thought I'd say that.
Clog. So basically what the finger clog does is it's got like a ridged surface.
Right.
So it's got a, I've not got it to hand now, but basically there's ridges on your clog and there's ridges on your mat. So what happens is when you've got your clog on your finger and you've got your mat, they sort of like, I don't know how you describe it, but it's sort of like
create a bit of friction.
Yeah, it's like friction against each other, and it's the actual ridges on those two bits of like equipment that do that. So if you were to use your finger, you wouldn't get that sort of distressed look to it. So you do really need your finger clog if you want that real sort of roughing up effect of your petals.
Okay.
Just check out the website. It's not called a finger clog, I'm afraid. I've not managed to campaign to change it just yet. It's called a petal distress tool.
Okay.
So you get the little mat and the clog as well, and that's part of that bundle.
That's brilliant. We've got a few other questions, but we'll go through those as the show moves on. So I'll show you again what you're going to be getting in this bundle. So this is your Learn to Flower Form. You'll be getting your 2 packs of a flower forming foam. You've got one which has your sort of pink and sort of floral colours. The other one has your greens for your foliage. You'll also be getting a pack of 400 stamens in various different colours. And then you'll be getting your 2 different dyes. So one is the Clover and the other is the Lily in those different sizes. So the price for this and your platinum price is £24 or $32. The next thing we're going to show you are so we've got more flower forming foam. Brilliant. So this is white and 2 packs of green that you've got in here. You get one of the packs of green for free. So the price for this is £11.98 or £19.90. Platinum price is £9.58 or $15.92. The next thing we have on the show are the flower stamens. So we've got a mixture of metallic, floral and lateral. So you've got all those different colours, huge amount in there. So 1,200 altogether. So buy 2, get 1 for free. So this is £6.38. $9.52. That's your platinum price. So again, you know, if this has inspired you, you'll be able to make all sorts of different flowers for this. The next thing we have is Learn double-sided dies. So we've got all sorts of bits and pieces in here. I've got this to hand at the moment, so I can show you exactly what you're going to be getting in here. So you'll be getting, first of all, you'll be getting these plates. So these are plates for your junior. These are for use with your double-sided double-sided dies. You'll also be getting this heart double-sided die here. You'll be getting this one here, which is your retro floral. Once you can see that on a proper board and see how big that die is. And then you'll be getting this string of lights as well, which is really lovely. I've seen this used in lots and lots of our demos, this particular one, because it's really quite appropriate for lots of different activities. Then you've got your cardstock, so you've got Centura Pearl in baby pink and also in deep purple. Wasn't that a band, Deep Purple? And you've got your pokey tools in here as well. So great value, £24 or $32 as your platinum price for this Learn double-sided dies. And is this what you're going to be using for your next demo, your double-sided die? Fantastic. Yeah. It's almost like we planned that, isn't it? It is, isn't it? We are good, aren't we? Yeah, we didn't want to listen to you singing, Johnny. Oh. That's the song that I thought it was. Yeah, that's right. The Deep Purple song. Da, 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 da. That one, yeah. So sorry, I won't sing anymore. Right, so...
no more singing. All about double-sided dies.
No one wants to sing on a Sunday. No.
No. I won't say the colour of cardstock I'm using then. No. So I'll start it all again.
It's a colour of grapes.
It's a lovely colour, and you get it, and you get it included in the bundle. Should we go with that? It's a lot easier. But I must say, I love the way we've popped these bundles together. It makes it so easy. You get basically everything you need to get started with a particular technique. And what we're going to do is we're going to use some of our double-sided dies for this particular card. So we've got this lovely border die. This is one of our Edgeables, and this is what we call heart to heart. And what we've got is we've got a double-sided die. So we've got one side which is a slightly more solid design, and then we've got the other side which is a bit more open. And the idea is that you basically layer the two together, and it does explain this in the packaging. You can see exactly how it works. You layer them together to get that lovely layered effect with very little effort and just one pass through the die cutting machine. So all we're going to do is we're taking our card base, we've just scored it, and we've got this section on the left-hand side. Doesn't quite meet the section on the right, but that's absolutely fine. We want this right-hand section to actually be showing. And then what we're doing with our die, we're finding the side which is a bit more solid with less cutaway, so that's this side. And we're having that facing into our cardstock like so. And I've just realised I've not got any double-sided cutting plates, so I'm just going to grab some. You are getting some within your bundle. You get a pair. I must say, when I first bought this, I thought, do you only get just the one? But you do get the pair of double-sided cutting plates, and these are what you're going to need.
And this is the you absolutely have to have these. You wouldn't be able to use these dies without those cutting plates. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you do need your double-sided cutting plates, and they do look ever so slightly different to your normal cutting plates. They get like a slightly greeny tinge to them. And what we want to do is it's a really easy sandwich combination. And the way to remember it is you only have your clear cutting plates and these cutting plates. But because these are double-sided ones, anything that is touching the die needs to be a double-sided plate.
Right.
So we start off at the bottom. The base of our sandwich is our clear cutting plate, just our normal Gemini plate. And then we have our double-sided plate. Because we're bringing our die in, because the die is going to be touching this, well, technically the cardstock, but you know what I mean. We need our double-sided plate. Then we've got our cardstock with our die facing downwards, cutting into there. And then we've got another piece of cardstock which is going to cut this other design, this slightly more open design. So we're going to lay that down with the pretty side of the cardstock facing that double-sided die. So we're going to line that up so it's nice and central. And then because we've got the double-sided blade facing up, it means what we need on the top of here is we need a double-sided cutting plate, and then on top we need our clear cutting plate. So super simple sandwich. All you need is your clear cutting plate, double-sided plate, all your gubbins in the middle with your dies and cardstock and all the rest of it, then another double-sided plate, and then a clear cutting plate, and that is it. So easy. And in your pack of double-sided plates, it doesn't matter whether it's the junior packs or if it is the full size like we're using here. You basically get a pair, so you get everything that you need. But like Becky says, you do need the double-sided die plates to be able to work with these particular dies. So you can see what we've got here is we've got our slightly more a solid design for our backer, and all it is we need to do is just pop out those pieces and then just trim top and bottom. Our piece of cardstock was slightly larger than our die edges, and trim that and pop your pieces out, and then that's going to be our backing piece.
Okay.
Move that to one side, and then if we bring in our other piece that we've just cut, which was our slightly more open design, so we just peel the waste away from there. You might need to trim the bottom and then just pop the pieces out, and then that's going to be our other layer that's going to go over the top of our base layer. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move our die out of the way, and we're going to stick those two together. So all it's a case of is just getting the two layers. So you can see if we line them up, they line up absolutely perfectly, and it gives us that dimension onto there. But with just the one pass through the die cutting machine, makes it really nice and super quick and simple to actually build up this layered effect. So we've got a nice lacy edge to this, so I'm going to use my dotty tape pen onto there just to make sure that I catch all of the detail on that lovely lacy edge. We've used some of our baby pink cardstock, which is also part of the bundle for this top layer.
I like those two colours together.
They work, don't they?
Yeah, they really do
Oh,
work.
they're lovely. Yeah, and if you are needing to stock up on your double-sided plates, you can get those separately as well, which is fabulous. But all I'm doing to line this up, look where the holes are for this particular heart. They're the same on the base layer and the top layer, so you just need to line those up. And once those are lined up, then that sticks together perfectly, and that's the start of our card base with that lovely edgeable design onto that. I mean, that could be an easel card, you could be fold that in half again, could be the base of an easel card, but we need to decorate this front section up a little bit, and that's where we're going to bring in some more dies from the collection. So we're going to take the retro floral die, and this is a very similar sort of concept to our edgeable die that we've just looked at. You've got one design on the other side and the other design on the other side. So you've got the slightly more solid design and then you've got your more open design. So for the more solid design, I'm going to cut that in our purple cardstock, and then for our slightly more open design, we're going to use that same baby pink cardstock. And again, even though this is a creator card die rather than an edgeable, it's still the same plate combination. So we've got our clear cutting plate, our double-sided plate, our die and our cardstocks are double-sided plate and our clear cutting plate. So just making sure that we've always got our clear cutting plates on the outside, and anything that's touching our die is a double-sided plate, because of course it's a double-sided die. So it's nice and simple. Once you've done the process a couple of times, it's a nice easy one to remember. I must say it's probably one of the easiest plate combinations, to be perfectly honest. It's really,
just getting used to it, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got our more open, our more solid design even. It's just a case of popping all those little pieces out. You can see from the reverse it's cut absolutely perfectly. And then the other side is our more open design, so it's what's going to go over the top of our more solid design. So we can see again that's cut beautifully. We just need to pop the pieces out of there, but we'll move that to one side for just a moment and bring a couple in where I've already popped all the pieces out. And all it is a case of layering the two together. So you could use them separately. I mean, that looks fabulous on its own, but by layering them together, it gives you that lovely layered effect, but only one pass through the die cutting machine, and that's the beauty of our double-sided dies. Saves us time, so we can get basically two passes in one. It's almost a little bit like a tri-blend in that we get 3 pens in one. It's like getting 2 dies in one, which again is also brilliant for our storage. So instead of having to store 2 die sets, we're only having to store the one, which, like we were saying earlier, when space is a premium, when it always is for us crafters, it makes our lives a lot easier. So some dotty tape runner even to the back of that top layer, and we're just going to layer that over the top. All I'm doing is I'm lining up the outside edge, because they're exactly the same size in terms of the outer. If you just line up the outside edge, you know that the centre section is going to be perfect onto there. Then if we bring in our card base, again, we're going to have that on that left-hand section. So we're going to use, again, some of our dotty tape pen. Use probably enough space on there to get some foam pads behind if you want to raise that up a little bit. You do have slightly more solid pieces in there where you should be fine to get your foam pads onto there if you've got some of your smaller foam pads. But just for speed, we're going to add this flat with some of our dotty tape pen. That's going to go on the left hand like so, and then we're going to bring in, this is actually one of our embossing folders that we've got on today's show. We will be taking a little look in more detail with our embossing folders, but this is that lovely heart embossing folder, and rather than using it as a full piece, all I've done is I've embossed that small section just for that extra bit of detail to add into the centre of our card. So matting and layering that onto there. We've got some white on the front, but currently we don't have any white on the inside, so by adding in this panel, it's going to bring that white from that front panel of the card onto the inside of this card to get everything tying together nicely. I'm going to add some of my all-purpose glue. I must say that's the glue I probably use the most at home for my matting and layering. Gives you a little bit of wiggle room as well, so it just gives me a moment to decide. I'm happy that that's central and manoeuvre it into position, and then we've got that little bit of added interest in the centre. When it's standing, that will be a little bit more visible. And then to finish it off, I've taken one of my stamps, and this is actually a sentiment from our aperture stamps. So if you have a look back to Colour Me Happy this morning, you can check out the Shop the Day section on the website. This is from, I think it's the Heart die set on the aperture stamps, and I've just stamped it using crushed velvet, quick dry ink. Like we were saying earlier, best inks for your stamping to get that really crisp stamped impression, even on a detailed stamp like we've got here. The best ink is definitely a quick dry to go for. So we've stamped that on some of our multi-purpose card, just some white card. We're matting and layering it onto our purple, and then finally, last matte and layer, we're going onto some of that lovely baby pink, again, just to frame that really nicely. And we've gone for wedding day. Thought it went well with the colours and sort of the theme. And what we're going to do is going to add that on with the foam pad. Again, I do love my foam pads, in case you hadn't noticed. And I think we're going to have it onto sort of the centre section, but slightly poking over the edge. I might be able to get another foam pad just on the right hand side, just to make sure that that's stuck nice and firm. So we've got one on the left, we'll just pop that one about onto there like so. Make sure it's nice and straight before we stick it down and press it down properly. But how easy is it to create cards like this with your double-sided dies? We did that pretty much from scratch. Some of my mats and layers were already done, bit of stamping and embossing already done, but all the die cutting super quick and simple when you've got your double-sided dies.
Yeah, another gorgeous make, Lily, really beautiful. And we're going to be doing more embossing later on in the show as well. So to recap on the items you're going to be getting in this bundle, you're going to be getting, this is your heart-to-heart die. So that's the one that you saw Lily using just a moment ago. You're also going to be getting this one here. So this is your retro floral. So that's the one we used on the front of that there. And then this is your string of lights. So they're great for parties. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Parties, but also sort of Christmas, that's going to work really well for. You're going to be getting your junior plates for using these double edge dies as well. You'll be getting your Centura Pearl in your pale pink or baby pink, and your Centura Pearl in this not light purple. Or purple colour, and you'll also be getting your pokey tools as well, upside down, any way you want to use them. These are going to be great, so you're going to get everything you could possibly need in order to make these cards. So the price here is £24 or $32 if you're a platinum price member. And so we're going to be have a quick break, do the riddle. Oh yes, of course, must do the riddle. Do the riddle. So if you haven't been watching over the shows, you see that we're doing this riddle, and every day, if you work out what the riddle is, you pop the item into the search term on our website when you guess what the item is, and it will show you to the website, and it will show you a particularly good deal for this particular product. And this will run until Sunday evening, so midnight tonight. The riddle today is: workmen use me to build and fix. Crafters need me too for those Blub, blub, blub. Workmen use me to build and fix. Crafters need me too for those paper craft tricks. I'm essential for all your crafty makes, but don't blame me for any mistakes. What am I? And it's, we did have somebody earlier on asking whether it was tape. It's not exactly tape, but it's something that you could include tape into that sort of bundle of things that you might need to use for crafting. So have a little think, pop it into the search term, have a cup of tea, and we'll see you in a couple of moments.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. So, join our family of craft experts with live tutorials and demonstrations every day. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products here on Crafters TV. Get creative and craft along with our amazing deals. Your next craft project is only a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week or watch on catch up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook or our YouTube channel. You can chat to us, craft along and meet new friends in our online crafting community.
You entertain us, you give us a community to talk, in the chat. That wouldn't happen without you guys. It's like Crafters Companion is magical. There's magic here.
You all had time with each other! You're not through to boot camp. Get off!
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. So, stop what you're doing and enjoy the fun here on Crafters TV.
So definitely the Gemini. It may be something that all of us say. The Gemini is just the most awesome machine out there on the market. It is second to none. It is the most incredible machine that I've ever used, and I've been crafting a long time.
Definitely my favourite product is a Gemini. I think it's just a game changer, being able to have something that can cut everything, and I use it for my paper craft as well as my soft craft as well, and it really is like a key item. I don't think I could live without that one anymore.
When you come across a machine that does everything that you need it to do, and you know it's never going to need updating, it's not like phones where they're going to bring a new one out. The only difference they can do with the Gemini is the size, is the colour, but the Gemini itself is, proven to be the most amazing product out there on the market. So yeah, it has to be the Gemini.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the Crafters Companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Here at Crafters TV, it couldn't be easier to get your hands on the latest crafty must-haves. Leave the hard work to us while you shop from the comfort of your own living room. Head to the Crafters Companion website to see our full crafty range, or hit the Shop the Day button to see all the new and exciting products featuring on Crafters TV. Once you've filled your cart, leave it to us to get your crafty goodies to you in super quick time, so you can get on with being creative. Crafters Companion, making crafty shopping a breeze.
Hello everybody, welcome back. We're here with a masterclass and we're going back to basics. So we're doing all sorts of different things that we're looking at. And we do have a few people that have messaged in asking for particular sort of techniques that we can talk about. So we will chat about those a little bit later on if we've got the time. We do want to let you know about our weekend super saver, which is this item just here in front of me. So this is your Lattice folding die collection. You've got 6 different dies in here. Each one contains 2 dies. A sort of large one and a small one, to create some really beautiful little designs in there. It's actually a 45% saving that you've got here today, so it's a huge deal. So you've got your star, your double diamond, your chevron, your circle, opulence and a double loop in there. The platinum price today is £20.80 or $25.60, so it's definitely worth popping it in your basket if you haven't already got it. The next thing we're going to look at are the Edgeables. So this is today today in the masterclass, we're looking at all sorts of different techniques and putting together these great bundles for you. So perhaps you can learn a new type of product that you haven't had before. So this is our Learn Edgeables bundle. So you're going to be seeing, this is the die that you'll get. So this is one of your border dies. This is your Ditzy Daisy. You can see how pretty that looks on the actual board. We're going to show you how that works a little bit later. You're also going to be getting a bundle with baby blue Centura Pearl card, and you'll also be getting the cherry red as well. You're going to be getting, here's the die that I was talking about. This is your Ditzy Daisy die, first of all. Then we're also going to be getting this congratulations die as well, too. You'll be getting 2 ink pads. You'll be getting water reactive dye in baby blue, and then you'll be getting the water reactive one in damson wine, so like a really dark sort of purple that you've got there. You'll be getting your blending tool here with your circular pads, and also your brayer with your foam pad as well. So you're going to get all the bits and pieces you can possibly need to make to be able to use these edgeables. And Lily's going to show us a couple of demonstrations in a moment. And so the platinum price today is £24 or $32. Lily, how do these actually work, these edgeable dies?
Well, I love our edgeable sort of range of dies because there's lots of different ways, there's lots of different concepts that we can create using these particular dies. But if we actually look at one of the dies we've got within this collection, and it's the same sort of thing with the other die as well, but if we focus on this lovely daisy die, this is actually a fairly new range of dies, our timeless border dies. So some of you might not have seen these yet. We launched these just a few months ago, and I absolutely love the floral design onto here. But around that top edge, what we've got is we've got a cutting edge all around that outside, but as we get to here, that cutting blade actually stops. So on this lower section of the die, we don't have a cutting edge at all, and this is what allows us to create that edgeable concept. So we cut in at the top half, but the bottom half stays within the card. We're going to show you that concept in just a moment. What we're going to do is, for this particular card, is we're going to create a Z-fold card. So we've started off with a piece of cardstock. This is our Snow White Centura Pearl hint of silver, and it's about 6 1/4 inches square, and all we've done on that left hand side is we've scored again in half, so that'll be 3 1/8 from that left hand side to create that fold back card. The piece we cut away from the top we have saved, we've left that to one side. That is about 2 inches, but we're going to focus on that in just a moment, but we're just going to work with this area to start with. So we're taking our die, our lovely edgeable die, and what we're going to do is if we bring our plates in on this left hand section here, all we're going to do is we're going to line up our die. So don't forget, this side is the side where we've got the cutting blade onto there. We're going to line it up and take some low tack tape. So just make sure this is nice and straight and level left and right, top and bottom. So we're going to get a nice straight edge onto there. And then when we're happy with where we've lined that up, what we're going to do is we're going to pop some low tack tape onto there just to make sure that that's not going to move anywhere at all. And again, we're going to pop this through our Gemini, but this time with it being a regular die, i.e. not a double-sided die, it's back to our normal die cutting sandwich. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to run that through, and once we can hear that it's cut, we're going to pause it, and we're going to go back through. Just because it was just at the very end of that cutting plate, we don't need to send all the cardstock the whole way through. So the thing I love about the pause and reverse on our Gemini, just speeds up our crafting and makes it so easy. So what we've got is we've got our die cut onto here. So just take a moment, just ease your die cut out of your die. And did you notice I taped onto the waist? So this side is the waist rather than taping onto that lower section, just in case the tape was to rip for any reason at all. It would just mean it would rip onto the waist, so it wouldn't be a problem at all. Now we can see that this top edge has cut out. This lower edge at all, we've not got any cutting blade on that side, so that's where it stays into our cardstock. All we need to do is we just need to complete that cut line with just a little snip top and bottom, just because our card was slightly longer than our die, but it does go to show that you can repeat this and cut it multiple times along your cardstock. Then it's just a case of popping out all those pieces. It has cut all the way through, but just take a moment to use either your pokey tool or your die brush tool to pop all those pieces out. And then if you go ahead and do that along the whole length of the die, I'm going to bring in one I've already done earlier. So we'll give you this edge, but what I've also gone ahead and done is I've cut the die again on this right hand side. So same die, cutting, so that cutting edge is along that edge of the card base, exactly the same technique. So we've got a cutting edge along that left hand side, the die cut along there, and then one on the right, so we've got that mirror image.
It looks so delicate, doesn't it?
Doesn't it look so pretty? It looks fabulous, doesn't it? And that's a detail in the die, but let's bring out that detail within that lovely design a little bit more. You know, I do love bringing in my inks, and we do have some of the inks included in this bundle, and this is our baby blue. This is one of our water reactive inks, and all I'm going to do just into the centre of those daisies, I'm going to pop a little bit of that blue ink just to sort of draw the eye into the centre, add a little bit of colour, but we're just adding it to the very centre of those daisies rather than all over the whole design.
I have a question about water reactive ink from Timothy.
Yeah.
When we were talking about are there any questions where people have, you know, techniques how to use things, Timothy says we have any techniques on colour bend crayons and blending with these, but also the use of water reactive ink and the colour for an ombre effect. So how would you use that?
How would we use...
If you were going to use your water reactive ink for like an ombre effect, would you make your card wet first before you put your ink down?
No, so with your water reactive inks and ombre, you want a dry cardstock.
Right.
So 1 second, let's go for it. Let's get a couple of quick dry water reactive inks even. So this is similar to the sort of technique we actually did this morning. Do you remember the embossing folder in Colour Me Happy? So what we want is we want some of our nice multi-purpose cardstock, and then we're going to use some of our blending tools, or you could use your blending sponges, but I find it easier with our blending tools. I'm just using 2 colours of ink here, but of course you could be using multiples. So start off with your first colour. So pick up some of your colour from your ink pad onto your blending sponge. Going round in circular motions is going to allow you to get the best sort of blend onto there. And then once you've laid down your first colour, I'm only doing this quite quickly, but you can get much neater results if you take a little bit more time. And then going in with another colour, and these are our water reactive inks, using our multi-purpose card. Then just lay down your next colour, so it's just dry cardstock that we're working on too, and start to blend the two together. You can see they start to blend really, really easily. Then if you feel like you need to go back to the blue to add a little bit more blue onto there to make them sort of blend a little bit better, go back to your blue sponge, get some more of the blue ink. You can see we're starting to bridge that gap and starting to blend the two together beautifully. So all it is a case of using your multi-purpose card that's best for an ink like this, using your blending sponges and your blending tools, and just working the two together.
Okay.
Hopefully that answers your question, Timothy. If not, get us some more in, and we'll do our best to answer them. But yeah, just use your blending sponges and you will get a fabulous result. But back to the card, back to the task in hand. We've added our little bit of our water reactive ink to the very centre of our petals, just to give it a little bit of extra detail. And then to make this design pop even more, because obviously we've got white on white on that section, what we've done is we've taken a piece of that baby blue cardstock, and that is included within the bundle. And we've cut a matten layer down just so it's going to fit onto this left hand side of the card, and it's going to sit behind those flowers just so they stand out a little bit more, rather than having it white on white where they get lost a little bit against that card base behind. By adding in that blue matten layer, using some of our all-purpose glue to do that, you can see how much more that makes that pop. It just really brings that design to life. I'm going to bring in now some mats and layers, some pattern papers. So this is actually from our subs box 47, this one. I have to say I love the pattern papers within some of our subs boxes, but if you are looking to stock up on perhaps some of your 8x8 pads or even your 12x12 pads, do have a little cheeky look in that penny sale. So I must say yesterday morning, as soon as it was it went live on Friday morning. As soon as it went live, I was having a little look and seeing what was on there. I was quite surprised, pleasantly surprised, I have to say, at some of the paper pads that were included in there. So if you're thinking, I mean, I'm always thinking I need a new paper pad. You know what I'm like, paper pad obsessed. But if you are looking at your stash and thinking, I'm a little bit low on my decorative papers, I'm wanting to freshen up my stash a bit more, getting some new designs into my crafty stash, then definitely do check out that penny sale, especially as it's ending at midnight tonight. You've got to be quick on that one. But there is some fabulous goodies in there. And like Becky said earlier, we've even got, there's at least one 12x12 pad in there.
Yeah.
So lots and lots of goodies to get your hands on. We've added our matte layer onto the inside, and just to mirror the inside with the outside, we've got the same pattern paper from that subs box and that same baby blue Centura pearl. What a gorgeous colour this blue is. I don't tend to use a lot of baby blue. I tend to go with more teal sort of tones. But I'm absolutely loving this colour. I think it's so soft, so pretty, perfect for spring, summer. It'd be a nice sort of colour for a new baby card as well. I think that dye could work quite well too for a new baby card, with it being so delicate. Well, that is the start of our card base, but like I said earlier, we are going to be doing a Z-fold card, so we're going to leave that to one side for just a minute. And I've got a piece of that same Centura pearl cardstock. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the other die within that collection. This is the Congratulations. And I thought for a second that I'd taken the wrong die, because from the reverse it looked like two words, but it's not. This is the right die, thank goodness for that. I thought, oh, can I not read what's going off here? But no, this is our Congratulations die. And what we're going to do is we're going to line that up with our piece of cardstock. And again, like we saw with the other die earlier, talk you through this one. We've got that lower cutting edge, but again at the top we've not got that cutting edge, and it's what makes it an edgeable die. But of course we don't have to use it on the edge of our card blank. We can use it just as almost like a border, just a regular border on a strip of cardstock that we're going to add to our card base as a panel. So like I say, we're using our Centura Pearls Hint of Gold, I believe it is. We're running that through that panel with our die, using it slightly differently to what we did at first, because at first we used our edgeable as the edge on a card, but just using it instead on a strip of cardstock as sort of like your topper, your main sentiment to go on your cards. So we'll run that through our die cutting machine. Turn that over. We can see we've got nothing's cut at the top because there's no cutting edge at that top side, but we've got that cut out at the bottom. And just take a moment, didn't tape on the waist. That was not a good idea. I always say try and tape on the waist. I mean, sometimes it's not always possible. Depends on the size of your piece of cardstock and your die. So do just take a moment to ease back that tape. You don't want your design to rip. I mean, it does tend to be one of those where you have to use a butterfly to cover it if it does, so it's never the end of the world. But you can see how gorgeously detailed that is. One pass through the machine, we've got all that intricate detail within that die. I mean, you could be cutting this in any cardstock at all, but I think it looks lovely in the Centura Pearl. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in a matte layer. So I've cut my little Z-fold element. It's about 2 inches in width. Width, yeah, height, width, same sort of thing. And we've got,
know what you mean.
Yeah, whatever, it's 2 inches that way. And we've got that baby blue, again, a matte layer to go on this front section. So if we add some tape onto the back of this matte layer, so that is going to go onto there. It's about a 1/4 inch smaller. I tend to work in 1/4 inch increments when it comes to my mattes and layers. It gives you that nice thin matte layer, just enough that we can see the colour through, but not so much that it's sort of overtakes and you have too much colour, which can sometimes be a little bit jarring. And then we've got our die cut that we've just done using our Congratulations die, and that's going to go into the centre. I'm going to use our dotty tape runner. Just for speed, you could use your fine tip glue applicators with your tacky glue, but you do want something that's going to allow you to get into all that fine detail. We've got a lot of lacy elements onto this particular die cut. So using our dotty tape pen on the back of that, then if we line that up centrally, so we've got that even border along the top and the left and right sides of that piece, and that's going to be that front section. But because this sort of fold opens out a little bit, we want to decorate these two panels, and to keep it tying in with our card base, obviously we use those pattern papers onto there. So we're going to bring these pattern papers back into this Z-fold part of the card. So we've used the same pattern paper from Subsbox 47, that same matte layer, so it's our lovely baby blue Centura Pearl. I think it works so well. Laying that into the centre there, just gluing it down using our all-purpose glue. It's great for your matting and layering. If you don't stick it down perfectly centrally or straight first time, you've got just a minute just to manoeuvre that into position until you're happy with where you've got it positioned. And once you're happy, you can just sort of press that down, smooth it down, allow that glue to bond like so, and that gives us a little bit more design, a little bit more decoration onto this panel, and it means that it's going to match with our card base where we've got the same mats and layers. Then all it is it's a case of adding our Z-fold element onto our card base. And obviously we've got some decorative detail onto here, so we just need to take care that we don't sort of over glue. So we can see that we can only really have our adhesive onto that section there. We can't really have much on the left, and then onto that right hand section there. So it's easier if we do sort of one edge at a time and then the other edge. So we're going to start off with this particular side, and I know that it can be about, I think we're going to have it slightly up from the bottom. I think we'll have some tape about into the centre there, and I know I can have some in the centre of that flower, and that should be enough onto that side. So just line it up until we're happy that it's looking nice and straight and central, just like so. So that's that left hand side stuck, and then all we need to do is do the same on the right hand side. So just sort of measuring as to exactly where, sort of what the width of this is, so I can go about that sort of width onto there like so. So add some of our tape onto the back of there, and then we know at that side we've not got any decorative detail, so we can just pop our tape onto that side there. You can of course add some markings with a pencil onto the back if you find that easier, just so you know exactly where you can pop your glue, but that looks about right onto there. And then finally, just to finish it off, a little ribbon bow. This is from our Violet Studios pastel little ribbon bow pack that you can find on the website. Just to add a little extra bit of detail onto there, just like so. We're creating a Z-fold card using our Edgeables, both of the Edgeable dies within the collection. How fun is that? But really easy to create when you've got those brilliant Edgeable dies.
Yeah, lovely. Love the use of those colours as well. It's really beautiful. Yeah, as Tracy says, beautiful card. Absolutely. So in this bundle for your Learn Edgeables, you'll be getting the 2 Edgeable dies, so the Congratulations one and the Ditsy Daisies. I was reading that in German and thinking, why is that a word I didn't know? In German, it's Ditsy Gansenblumen. So you get these two dies here, which you saw Lily using. Then you're going to be using, getting your cherry Centura Pearl, and also that beautiful baby blue Centura Pearl card as well. You'll be getting your 2 auto-reactive dyes, inks rather, one in baby blue and one in Damson Jam, so that's sort of purple and blue colours again. This is your dye brush with your foam pad that you'll get there, and you'll also be getting this blending tool with those little pads in there. Platinum price is £24 or $32. So again, really good deal. This is great for everybody that wants to have a go at using different techniques and getting everything you possibly need in your starter packs. The next thing we're going to be looking at are your embossing pack that we've got here. So you're going to be getting these embossing folders. So this is the garden party. This is the towering teacups, which I think is absolutely great. Hopefully you can just see that through there. The next one is your grand oak. Big oak tree here, very, very pretty again. This one is your, I don't know what this one is. Oh, it's falling apart. This is your With Love one here with all your hearts. That's your stamp and die set here. Then you're going to be getting your black Centura Pearl card and your silver pearl silver Centura Pearl card as well. So the price for this is £24 or $30. That's your platinum price. We've got Jill B saying, oh my goodness, Lily is making such gorgeous cards today with so many different techniques. Actually, Johnny in my ear was saying, oh, actually you're getting embossing wax as well, so I forgot about that. It's going to be very difficult to make a decision on demo of the day or even demo of the week, because we had some lovely demos from Lily yesterday as well. So Lily, stop making such great things. Make something rubbish. She's never going to make anything rubbish, is she? No, you're going to be using the embossing folders in this this bundle, aren't you? Yeah, absolutely we are. We're going to be using both the With Love and these fabulous towering teacups as well. I mean, I have to say I do love a cup of tea. When you've got such pretty teacups like this, they make a beautiful motif for all of your designs, all your cards. But talking of cards, we're not actually going to make a card for this particular project. We're going to go for a box, so something a little bit different. So all we've done to start with is we've taken this lovely embossing folder. I believe it's 5x7 in size, yeah. So we've just cut our cardstock to just under 5x7, and we've used some of that lovely Centura Pearl in black. I love this cardstock. I think it is so, so classy. I mean, sometimes you do want your matte black
that really sort of harsh, stark black, but sometimes you want that little bit of shimmer and shine onto there, and then your Centura Pearl is going to be absolutely perfect for that. So I've just embossed that, run that through our Gemini machine, but I mean we can see it quite well. But to really bring it to life, we're going to bring in some of that gilding wax, and you are getting that included within the bundle as well. And this is our Empire Gold. How absolutely delicious does that look? You almost want to, and don't do this at home, don't dig a spoon in, but it does look that good, doesn't it? It looks
and do you know,
absolutely
it
fabulous.
smells like frankincense. It smells quite nice. It smells like frankincense, that's what I reckon. And it's beautiful, isn't it? I do love a bit of gilding wax.
Yeah, it gives the most amazing effect. So all I do is you need literally the tiniest bit. So I take the tiniest bit off out of the pot onto my finger, and then I dab it out onto my glass mat. And really is a case of a little goes such a long way. So the classic, you can always add more, but you can't take it away. So always start with a small amount and then just build up that colour and design. I mean, within this particular bundle, you are getting the one pot of gilding wax, but perhaps you have other colours within your stash already, or perhaps you're going to check out the website and see exactly what we've got on there. So I think we've got about 5 within the range, and there's several different golds, and then there's a silver as well. And all of the different gilding waxes, you can actually use them together. You can almost blend them a bit like you would with your inks to get some really interesting effects. But even with just the one colour of gilding wax that you're getting within that bundle, you can still get fabulous results. And we're just going to be using that one pot here. So you don't need loads in your crafty stash. Perhaps you are new to embossing or new to crafting in general. It's a great place to start, and you've still got plenty in there to get fantastic results right from the get-go. So very much like when I use my ink pads and my sponges and my blending tools, I'm working it in a circular motion. You just find when you work in these circular motions that you get that smoothest lay down of colour, whether it is something metallic like your gilding waxes or whether it's your ink pads. By working in a circular motion, you'll get that lovely lay down of colour. And a lot of people sort of ask, do you have to use your finger or can you use tools? I have to say I'm not usually a big fan of using my finger. I'd usually much rather use tools and not get in a mess, but I've found the best way definitely is on your finger. You can use sponges if you prefer, or you can use as well if you really don't like the sort of feel of your gilding wax on your finger, you don't want the gilding wax on your finger for whatever reason, you could wear a pair of gloves and pop a pair of gloves on and then use the gilding wax over the top. So there are ways and means, but I've found personally the best results I always get is when I actually use my finger rather than any sort of tool.
And you are using a tiny amount, aren't you?
Honestly,
this is going to last a long time.
Well, I mean, we all say, the craft experts, I think it's Craig says he's had his pot for about 5 years or something ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I've had mine for a good long time because it really is the best tip I can give you is less is more. And the way I do it is I don't even take it straight from the pot. I go from the pot and then I go onto the lid and then I go onto my craft mat. So by the time I've got onto my glass mat, I've got literally next to nothing on there. And you see how such a long way that goes, just the tiniest bit of gilding wax. It gives such a different finished result. So we went from black cardstock to something that looks almost like craft metal. And I mean, if you think the price of a sheet of price per sheet of craft metal versus the price of a sheet of this Centura Pearl, and just with adding a little bit of gilding wax, I mean, it's so much more cost effective to create. I mean,
once the light hits that really changes that. That's beautiful.
It almost looks like I've been down my workshop carving and engraving and doing all sorts. No, it's just a bit of this, all it is, but nobody needs to know that. I mean, you would probably think that was craft metal to look at, but absolutely not. So really easy, and of course you can be doing that technique with any of your embossing folders and it looks amazing. I mean, just tilting that looks incredible. We're going to bring some mats and layers into play now. So we've got some of this lovely mirror card. This is our ice blue from our luxury mixed A4 card. And we're going to add our embossed sheet onto this mat and layer. So it's about 1/4 inch again, just so we've not got too much of the mirror card exposed, otherwise it might overtake that lovely design that we've got with the teacups. And then what we've done is we've actually created, like I say, we're going to do a box for this one. So we've got our lid and our base marked on, so I can remember which is which. And I tend to either mark in the centre of that piece so that I know it's going to be covered and I don't have to rub the pencil out. Or in this instance, I've actually marked on the tabs, so I know that it's going to be stuck together along the tabs, so then I don't even have to rub out my markings, which is always a bonus, one less thing to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our topper that we've just created onto the centre of this box lid. And we've used, of course, our multi-purpose card to create our box base and our box lid. It's going to give us a nice, strong finish, nice, strong, sturdy box that's going to hold the weight of whatever we decide to pop into that. So if we line that up in the centre like so, and we're going to leave that to one side for just a moment. We're going to bring in another slightly different technique using our embossing folders. This is a technique, we don't really see it enough, to be quite honest. I must admit, I'm probably partly to blame for that. I tend to forget about this technique, but it's actually letter pressing. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our water reactive dye, ink in our parakeet colour, and we're going to look at our embossing folder. We're going to just feel which side is the emboss and which side is the deboss. So the side that's sort of pushing out, where the hearts are pushing out, that is our embossed, but we want to be in the debossed design. So this side of the embossing folder that's actually coloured is where we're going to add our ink. And what we've done is we've taken a couple of panels of our white multi-purpose card. These are going to be some panels for the sides of our box. And all we're going to do is going to take our ink pad. You can use a brayer or any of your blending tools to do this, but I find you get a really nice result by literally just taking the ink pad straight to that embossing folder and just go around. You can see it's force of habit. I want to sort of use circular motions onto there. You can just swipe it if you want, totally up to you. Just make sure you've filled in all that colour so it's going to cover where your panel's going to go. Then just lay that down. Once you've placed it down, make sure you don't move it. That is sort of the key, because otherwise you'll get ink on the areas you don't want it to be. And then just our standard cutting sandwich, well, I say cutting sandwich, embossing sandwich for our embossing folders. I'm going to run that through. And it's another nice point to make that when we're using our embossing folders, I know this is a 6x6 folder, but we don't have to use it as a 6x6 folder every single time. You can use just the small sections of that folder. So if you're looking at it thinking, well, I don't make an awful lot of 6x6 cards, you can use it on smaller sections.
Wow.
You can see how different does that look. So we've gone from that piece of white cardstock, and I mean, it looks almost like a pattern paper, doesn't it? But the advantage is that it's actually embossed as well. So how fabulous does that look? Using our letter pressing, really easy to do. Just one ink pad, using our parakeet water reactive ink pad. You could do the same technique with your opaque pigment ink pads. That would work well too. But just using your water reactive, how fab, but how quick and easy to do that. Leaves the embossed area as white where the ink isn't, and where we inked into the folder, that's the recessed debossed design that gives us that colour onto there. We're going to bring in our box lid again that we started decorating up. So we've got two larger panels with some lovely silver glittery card onto there. So those are going to be our two sort of longer panels for our box. And we've matted and layered these onto that same Centura Pearl Black that we used for the original piece that we embossed using our teacups. So we've got two of these to go alongside these long edges of the box sides. So one onto there, got a bit of fluff there, get rid of that. And then one, I think that might have actually been a bit of a string from the hot glue gun from the first demo. They get absolutely
gets everywhere, doesn't it, with hot glue gun?
Oh goodness me, it's not as bad as the Bacchus red liner tape, but then I don't think anything is. But yeah, they do get absolutely everywhere.
I often find when my dog sort of comes in when I'm crafting.
Oh dear.
And has a look around, sees what I'm doing, sees there's no food involved, and then goes back downstairs. But when I do find him, he's always covered in some kind of glue or a couple of sequins or a bit of red liner tape backing.
Yeah, it gets absolutely everywhere. Honestly, it's all over, especially if you've got like a fluffy jumper. Or a bad one for me is it gets stuck in my slippers. So I have some nice fluffy slippers and I look down and think, what's that on there? And I've got red liner tape backing. But yeah, it's all fun and games, this crafting lark, isn't it? But we've added our two panels, top and bottom, that we've used the letterpress technique. So the same technique that I've just shown you, we've basically just done it twice. One for the top section and one for the bottom, so we've got that continuity. So the two short box sides are the same sort of design with our letterpressing, and then the two long edges, we've got that lovely glittery card. It just gives it such a lovely opulent finish to your box. And then using some red liner tape, so adding this onto the tabs of our box lid, I'd probably maybe add another piece, another strip along the edge if I was at home, but just for speed, this will still give us that nice strong grab onto there with it being red liner tape. And I do always say red liner tape's your best one for any sort of construction. It's going to give you that lovely strong grab onto there, but it is instant, so once it's down, it's very much down. So if you are a little bit worried about lining things up and getting it straight first time, do just pop a little bit of tacky glue onto the back once you've peeled the backing off, and that will give you that little minute to sort of manoeuvre it into position. Then what we've done is we've taken, this is from that same embossing folder, and I call it embossing folder, but it is sort of doing it a disservice because you don't just get the embossing folder that we've already seen, you also get a matching stamp and die.
Yeah.
And you can use these separately, or the way they have been designed is actually to use them along that centre channel of the embossing folder. But in this particular instance, we're just going to use it as a sentiment on our card. So it just goes to show you can use your embossing folders in sections like we have for the panels of our box sides. You can use your die and your stamps as extra embellishment. So it just goes to show that we've got lots of different options, lots of different versatilities when it comes to these collections. Don't just think about using things all together, how perhaps they've been designed to be used. Think about how we can break them down and use them in different projects as well. If we just line that up, add that onto that section there. I'm going to add on a ribbon bow just to finish, and then in a second we'll just have to build our box base because at the moment we've only got a box lid which isn't too much use, so we'll build our base in just a minute. But by using our Ultimate Pro, all we have to do is we need to cut 2 pieces of cardstock to exactly the same size for our lid and base. But by using that box making technology of our Ultimate Pro, it means that our base is going to be ever so slightly smaller. It's about 1/8 of an inch smaller than our lid, just to allow them to actually fit together. But you don't have to measure that extra 1/8 of an inch when you are using your Ultimate Pro, because in your box making board you've got that box making technology already built into it. So there's no calculating, there's no adding 1/8 of an inch on or anything like that. I mean, I must say I quite like the maths of calculating making boxes, but yeah, I think I'm pretty much alone on that one, let's be honest. So it just makes it quicker, and to be perfectly honest, a lot of the time I don't have the time to sit down and work out the measurements for a new box design. So by using your Ultimate Pro, you're going to get that perfect finish every single time, as long as you remember which one's the lid and which one's the base, which, let's be honest, I've fallen foul of a few times, as some of our regular viewers may very well remember, which is why I always mark on now which one is the lid and the base, just to remind me. But as long as you follow that concept of scoring one side on the lid side and one side on the base side, you'll get perfect boxes every single time. And how fabulous to create a handmade box to go with your gift. Perhaps you're going to have a matching card and a matching gift box as well. Yeah. I think that's a lovely sort of
I think it's lovely. I think there's something really special about having a beautifully wrapped gift. And I like to have things in boxes, so it's nice and it's easier. You know, even if you buy like a whole load of little bits and pieces, you can put them in a box and it looks like much tidier. I do like that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're buying like lots of little toiletry bits, little bits of makeup, it's perfect to have them all together in the one box. And it just looks so much nicer, doesn't it? Rather than a few random bits floating around in gift wrap, to have them all in a box, especially a box that you've created yourself, it gives such a lovely finishing touch. But how easy was that to create? Using our gilding wax onto our cardstock and using that letterpress technique. Just a couple of different ways you can use your embossing folders, but a nice simple gift box to create. That's absolutely true. Beautiful, absolutely lovely. Linda says, I've had my gilding wax for a long time and I'm still scared I won't do it right, but I need to conquer my fears. Hopefully that will make you have a go for that. Panda Cross says, if you ever have an area where there's too much wax coverage, put over a sentiment or butterfly. And I always love making boxes to match a beautiful card. Terry said, what kind of ink works best for this technique when you're putting the ink on the embossing folder? Letterpress. So I used a water reactive, but an opaque pigment will work nicely as well. It just will give you a slightly different effect, but obviously with it being water reactive, just rinse it out with some water afterwards and the ink will be gone, so you don't need to worry about it. Fabulous, thank you very much. Right, so this is what you're going to be getting in the Learn Embossing bundle. So you've got the towering teacups, which is one that Lily's just used just now. Then you have the grand oak tree here. Then you have this one here, which I've got upside down. This is the one with the words on it, so with love. So you've got hearts, different types of hearts on top and bottom, and then you've got that die and stamp that goes in the middle, or you can use it in other ways. I'll have to stick that together again. You're going to be getting your Centura Pearl in black card. You'll also be getting your Centura Pearl in pale silver, and you'll be getting your little pot of gold gilding wax. This is going to be something that we're going to keep using for a long time. It's going to last and last. And so the price today is £30 or $40. Your platinum price is £24 or $32. And the next one we're going to look at is our blending collection. So here you have some really great bits and pieces. You've got some watercolour card here, so you've actually got 30 sheets. You've got 2 packs of 15. So we were using your Aquabend pens earlier today. You can use that for this. You're also going to be getting your water reactive dyes, water reactive inks. You've got your crushed velvet here, which is this lovely dark purple colour. You've got your parakeet, which is a kind of bright kind of turquoise colour, and you're going to be getting your honey pot, which is that lovely sort of yellowy orange too. You'll be getting your blending tools, so you'll be getting your blending tool, which is a circular one with those little pads underneath, but you'll also be getting your little sponges. So these are a little bit like those makeup sponges that you would get for getting in those little sort of nooks and crannies, getting little points on there, and you'll also be getting a pack of 4 fine misters as well. So the price today is £30, $40, or your platinum price is £24 or $32. So we're going to go for a quick break, and we'll see you in a couple of moments. You can see some more information about our craft experts.
Such a big team of people behind the scenes, and there's a lot going on to support our role on camera, but I think in this instance I'll probably go with Brent and Kelly.
I've got two in mind for this one, and this is definitely our lovely Brent and Kelly, because not only are the two loveliest people and funniest people, can I say, but they are the ones that keep me on track.
Part of their job, not the whole job, is to organise our schedule. Now, there are a lot of us at Craft Experts, as you know, you've seen us all on screen. So organising where we need to be at a given time is one heck of a task, and they do it seamlessly.
In terms of all of our TV scheduling, whether we're up here at Crafters TV or down at Redditch.
Like every month they send us our schedule as to where we need to be, when we're supposed to be on air, when we're doing other things. So yeah, I'd definitely give them a shout out, because I think, you know, that behind the scenes work doesn't often get credited there.
But I love them dearly, and they are the my two unsung heroes.
There's definitely one item at the top of my list, and I've talked about this on air many I absolutely love the magnetic stamping platform.
Stamping platform was a game changer for me. Hated stamping before I got that. I just wasn't brilliant. I was pants, as I like to say. But using that, if you don't have one, get one. But using it is a game changer, because you get it right every time.
My crafting journey began with stamping and colouring. It's still something that I hold very dear. I love colouring, so being able to stamp out images, colour them in, something that I really enjoy doing. So having that stamping platform allows you to be very accurate.
And you're going to get it right every time. You've got the grid on there where you can line up either your stamps or your card, and you know that it's just, you're going to can stamp again and again. So when you've got a stamp that's quite big, or you wanting to ombre your colours or anything like that, you can go in again and again and again and get it perfect every time.
If you love Crafters TV, we've made it easy for you to watch us wherever you are. Whether you catch us on your tablets or take us with you on your mobile phone, it's easy to watch us anywhere. From here to here. Maybe don't watch us here. It would be easy to watch us here. Probably the easiest place to watch us is here. Crafters TV, with you wherever you are.
Quick Buy, all your crafting must-haves in a flash. Make light work of intricate and delicate die-cutting designs with the Pokey Tool from Crafter's Companion. An absolute essential part of any paper crafter's kit, its precise tip has been designed to release the tiniest pieces to reveal your finished results with absolute precision. And to make sure your finished project is perfect, each Pokey Tool has a rubber tip protector, so there's no risk of damaging your die-cutting design or yourself. The Crafter's Companion Pokey Tool is such an essential craft item, we've included 2 in each set. Quick buy, get yours now.
Hello everybody, welcome back. Lots of people messaging in saying how much they loved that box. We've got, and some Tracy said, I needed some silver ribbon, so I used some wax to colour white ribbon. It was very messy, but it worked. That's a good idea, using the gilding wax.
I never would have thought to do that, but I'll be trying that. Thank you very much.
That's really handy. And so I think everybody, you know, I think I was a bit reluctant to try my gilding wax. I like looking at it, but I've never actually used it. So you've given us some great techniques there. So masterclass today is all about going back to basics and putting together bundles of products for you to try out different techniques. So the next one is learn colouring. So we're using our tri-blends here. So you're going to be getting this stamp, which is your Believe in Magic, with a beautiful unicorn here for you to colour. You'll also be getting your Nina card, which if you've never done any colouring, you'll hear us talking about our Nina card all the time. This is what everybody uses. You get 16 pieces of white Nina card. You'll be getting your stamping platform, which is absolutely invaluable if you don't already have one of these, or perhaps you have a much larger one and you wanted a smaller one to do sort of smaller projects. These are, they're a game changer. Make life so much easier than trying to fiddle around and stamping just with your fingers. Excuse me. The next thing we have are our tri-blends. These are exotic blend colours. So you've got all these different colours in here. So each pen has 3 different tones of the same colour, which allows you to create sort of beautiful designs. It means making sort of blending becomes very, very easy. You get 6 in this pack. And then you'll also be getting your flagstone ink stamp here. Stamp pad? Ink pad. For stamping, ink pad. Get it right, Becky. As the price is £30 or $40, platinum price is £24 or $32. Lily, what are you going to be making with this bundle now?
I'm going to do a little bit of colouring. You guys know I love my colouring. I feel like I've coloured pretty much all day. It's been fabulous, love it. Right, we'll do a little bit more in Second Chance Sunday. I'll sneak some more in. But we're going to be working with this lovely unicorn. I absolutely love this unicorn stamp. There's something so magical, something so majestic and gorgeous about this design. I love the mane. I sort of wish my hair was a bit more like that, with beautiful sort of ringlets in there. You've got the unicorn's horn, great for adding your glitter to this as well. It works with lots of different colouring mediums, but what we're going to be using for this particular demo is what you're going to get in the bundle. And it's all about learning to colour with your tri-blend. So of course we are going to be using our tri-blend pens on this particular image. We're going to start off with our aqua blue blend, and if you didn't see our earlier shows, I did talk you through your tri-blends a little bit more. So after this show, between your shows, go back and watch Colour Me Happy, and I do explain in detail a little bit more all about our tri-blends. But basically we've got 3 pens in one. We've got our dark, our medium and our light, all from the same colour family, and they're all going to blend together absolutely beautifully to give us those really professional shaded results onto all of our coloured images. So this is our aqua blue blend, and what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our palest tone, our lightest tone within this 3 pen blend. And we can see that we've got a beautiful fine bullet nib to the ends of these, which is going to give us that really nice precision detail, and it's going to allow us to get into all these nooks and crannies in our stamp. We can see we've got lots of beautiful detail within this particular image. So by using our tri-blends with that lovely bullet nib, it allows us to capture all that fine detail and give us a finished result with lots of finesse to it. So we're shading in this area. We're actually leaving a few areas white where we're not adding any of this lightest colour tone to. We can always go in and fill those areas back in at the end if we feel like we need to. But we're leaving in that what we call a preserved highlight, which sounds ever so scary and ever so technical, but all it means is we're not colouring that area in. So, you know, I like to always try and make things a bit more simple rather than it all sounding all fancy and technical. It's just an area there where we're not colouring in. That's our preserved highlight. So once we've laid down that lightest colour tone, we then go in with our mid-tone within our pen, and we're going to add this around the edges of this particular area that we're colouring. So we're not going over all of the area that we've just laid down with our lightest colour tone. We're going over perhaps maybe about half, where the areas where it's going to be darker, where we've got this shade and the shadow. So it's going to be under where his mane is there. That's going to be casting a shadow onto his face underneath. A little bit more shading around here. And again, it's a case of, like I always say, where we've got more lines within that stamped image, that's where it's going to be darker. We're going to have more shade and more of our darker tones onto those areas. We can see how easy it is to start to build up the colour onto that particular area. I'm quite happy with leaving that area of preserved highlight onto there. I think that that works well, and we don't need to fill that area in. But if you feel like it was too stark to have that sort of flash of white with no colour at the end, you can just go back in with your lightest colour tone within that 3-pen blend and just fill that back in. Same sort of technique with this other area of the particular image. So like I always say, one area at a time. Even though we've got several areas of his body that would all be the same colour, just focus on one small section at a time. And once you've completed that section, then just go on to the next one. And it's just a case of repeating that same technique that you've used on the section before. So on his leg, we're leaving in 2 flashes of white onto there. And I'm not being really precious, I'm not being really particular as to where I'm adding in those highlights. You can get really technical and start thinking about light sources, and you'll see sometimes people drawing arrows on their artwork as to where the light's coming from. But just to keep it really simple, perhaps this is the first time you've ever done any alcohol pen colouring, or you are just wanting to learn your tri-blends as the bundle name suggests, then this is just an easy way to go. Under his body, his leg is sort of underneath and behind, so it's going to be darker there. His body's going to be casting a shadow, and then around the bottom here, the light's not going to be able to get to this area as well, with it being sort of underneath. So there's going to be more shadow and more of our darker pen tone onto there. But you can see how easy it is to start to build up the tone onto there, and I'll be using exactly the same technique for all of his body, but we're going to have a little look now at how we'd colour in his mane. So I'm taking the magenta blend. Again, one of our tri-blends that you're going to get within the bundle. I'm going to focus on just one of the curls of his mane at a time. We're going in with that lightest pen tone within the 3-pen blend, and same sort of technique in that we're going to leave a couple of flashes of white, sort of clear with no colour onto there, and the rest of this particular area of the image we're going to shade in using our lightest pen within this magenta blend. So I think
find on a unicorn.
Absolutely,
Aren't they?
yeah. They're lovely colours, aren't they? I must
beautiful.
say, I love that blue colour, that aqua blue. I think it's a lovely colour.
I do too. What was that? Was that ice blue?
Aqua blue blend.
Aqua blue.
Aqua blue. So you are getting all of these within the pack that you're getting within our little starter kit. So all the pens that I will be using to colour this image, you will find in that collection. So if they are your first set of tri-blends that you've ever got, you will get brilliant results like we're getting here, just with those pens without having to bring any more into play. So then we're going in with our darker pen tone, darkest pen within the 3-pen blend, around the edges, just to really bring that to life. But how realistic and dimensional does that look with leaving your preserved highlight?
Yeah, it really does.
There? Doesn't it just make a massive difference? Let's do another one, but let's do it without the preserved highlights, just to show the difference. So let's work on this one just above. I think it's always really important to understand why we do things, rather than just saying, oh, it looks right. Let's do it sort of the other way, so turn it on its head, and then we can see why it does work to do it in that particular way. So with this one, no preserved highlights, so we're going in with our lightest tone, then our mid-tone, and then around the edges. So same technique, just the only difference is not leaving in our preserved highlight. And look at the difference, it looks so much flatter. Just leaving in that little bit of white makes it look so much more dimensional. So just a tiny little technique, a tiny little bit of difference onto there actually makes a really big difference at the end when we come to have our finished coloured image. So then onto this one, we're going to do our pink-violet blend onto this particular area. Again, for this one, we're going to leave in our preserved highlight, and then we're going in with our mid-tone. So it's just a case of laying down that lightest colour within your pen blend, leaving that area for your preserved highlight with no shading, then bringing in your mid-tone, adding a little bit of shading, and then in the very darkest areas, just adding in your darkest tone just to add that shading and that depth onto the image. But you can see how fabulous that starts to look as we start to build up all of those colour tones onto there. Doesn't it look effective?
Yeah.
Just going to colour in perhaps one more using our purple. So this is our pink violet blend. It's a really nice pinky purpley type colour. Again, I think it's perfect for unicorns. Great for little girls' birthday cards.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I would love a card with a unicorn in these colours. I think it's an absolutely fabulous colour combination and a lovely stamp as well. And I think lots of younger or not so young ladies would definitely appreciate. I mean, you could be bringing in some of your glitter markers as well that we had on this morning's Colour Me Happy. Maybe you want to colour in parts of the image in your tri-blends and parts of the image in your glitter markers. You could absolutely be doing that. Maybe you've got backgrounds that you've created using all your Spectrum Noir products, glittery and sparkly backgrounds. This would look great placed against those. Or perhaps like we're going to do in just a moment, you've just got some lovely pattern papers that you want to use to sort of set the scene for this image. Those will work brilliantly as well. But just a few techniques of how we can use our preserved highlights to build up colour in this image. We're going to leave that to one side for just a moment. I think we all know I would quite happily spend the whole show colouring the image, but we are bringing in one that we've already done. And what we've done is we've just finished off colouring in that image, then we've just fussy cut around the edges. You know, I do love my fussy cutting. Of course, you could use this on a shaped panel, but we've actually just fussy cut that image out for that really nice effect. Then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our card base. So we have got a 6x6 inch card base, and similar to that Edgeable card, what we've done on that left hand side, we've folded it in half again. And this is a perfect use for your A3 multi-purpose card. When you're working with A4, you can't quite get a 6x6 card out of it. It's about 5 3/4 just because the length of the card is not enough to get that full 12 inches out of it.
Right.
When you've got your A3 card, as of course we do have on the website, you can get a 6x6 card out of that with no problem at all. So we cut our cardstock to 6 inches by 12, and then we score at 3 and 6, and that gives us what could be a fold back, but in this particular instance what we're going to do is going to use it as a reverse easel. So talking of pretty pattern papers, these are actually from our gnomes paper pad, actually the Christmas gnomes that we brought out a few years ago. This is something I love doing, using what is perhaps a Christmas or a winter themed paper pad at other times of year. I think it just gives you a fabulous effect, and it just gives you different uses for your Christmas stash, so it just makes it go that little bit further. Although these are kind of like snowflake designs, they could be almost like fireworks or medallions if you like, and I think it works nicely with the image. It could just be a nice winter
unicorns
card.
are magical, aren't they? So it could be any time. It could be snowing in the middle of summer and it'll still be
I mean, unicorns are not just for summer, they're all year round. So this is our wintry unicorn, and I think the design of the papers works really nicely with the colours that we've chosen to colour our unicorn as well. So one matte layer at the top and then one at the bottom as well. Different pattern papers, but same matte layer for that continuity, and with them being from the same paper pad, we've got that sort of similar design, similar colour tone that all works together really nicely. And then we've got a matte layer that we've just cut using some of our nice decorative dies, just for a little bit of a point of difference, rather than having just a square or rectangular with a straight edge. By having that slightly scalloped edge on that outer matte layer, just gives it a little bit more of a pretty finish, which works really nicely with the unicorn artwork. And we're just sticking along that top edge, no adhesive onto that bottom edge, just so that we don't end up sealing our card shut, which is never too much of a good thing. When we seal our card shut, then it stops being a concept card, which is not ideal. Then we're going to add our unicorn onto the centre of here. Again, using some of our foam pads for a little bit of lift. After all, this is sort of our focal point for our card, so we do want lots of dimension onto there so he really stands out. I mean, we've already got some dimension in terms of our shading, but by adding foam pads, it's going to make him really stand proud from our topper. So line that up so it's going to be nice and straight onto the centre of there like so. And once we're happy, just press that down. And although it is a reverse easel card, it's still an easel card, so of course we do need a stopper onto there. So we've got a sentiment which is also from that same stamp set. We've stamped it and we have added it onto another matte layer of our blue card. And with it being a stopper, you do need a little bit of dimension onto there, just to make sure that it's going to stand up and act as that doorstop for our card. So being fabulous is my superpower. What's yours? I mean, how brilliant is that sentiment? I think it's just just so much fun and works so well with the artwork that we've got there. But you can see how easy it was to build up our concept card. A little bit of colouring on there. Perhaps you've never coloured with your tri-blends before, then this is a perfect bundle to go for. Love that stamp, love the colours that we've got on there. How fun and fabulous is that?
That's gorgeous. Brilliant. Well, I think we need to do vote, and it's going to be quite a difficult one. So if you grab all of your makes for today, or not for today, for this show, and we'll do a vote for a demo of the show, and we'll do, in the next show, we'll do demo of the day. But yeah, they're really beautiful. You've done so many. 4 today? 5. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what order they were in more than anything. So number 1 feels like absolutely ages ago, and I know I say that every time, but it does feel like a long time ago. At the top of the show, we created our hanging plaque using our flower forming. That is demo number 1.
Lovely.
Demo number 2, we then went totally different with our double-sided dies. A really nice bold design onto that one. That is demo number 2. Demo number 3 was our Edgeables, I do believe. We'll say this is demo number 3 with our Edgeables, our 2 different Edgeables onto that Z fold card. That's number 3. Number 4 is our box using that fabulous gilding wax technique, a little bit of letterpressing on there as well. That is your demo number 4 for the box. And then demo number 5 is the one we've just done, using our fabulous tri-blends onto our reverse easel card. So get those votes in, 1, 2, 3,
Fabulous.
4 or 5.
Difficult decision to make, so vote now with your answer, which one you want to win. What Alison did ask, which nesting set is that from? The on the that last card.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. It's one of our older ones.
One of the older ones.
Yeah, it's not one that we've got currently available. You will find lots of nesting dies on the website if you're looking for some.
Fabulous. Okay, to recap what is in that bundle. So this is your Learn Colouring. So you'll be getting your Flagstone ink pad here. You'll also be getting your tri-blends here. These are your exotic blends. So you've got 3 pens in each one of these. You've got a pack of 6. Then you've got your smaller stamping platform. This is your 6x6 size stamping platform, but fantastic if you're going to be doing some stamping. You definitely need one of those. Then you're going to be getting this particular stamp, which is that beautiful unicorn that we'll be able to use for lots of different things, and it's fabulous to colour in that one. And then you'll also be getting your Nina card. The Nina card is a card we always talk about when we're doing stamping. This is a 16-pack pad of paper. So the price today is £30 or $40, or that's £24 platinum price or $32. Then the next one we're going to go to is the flower forming one. This is the one we talked about first thing this afternoon, this afternoon. Like you say, it goes really quickly. So in this bundle, you'll be getting 2 packs of your foam, 1 in the green, 1 in more floral colours, so your pinks, your yellows, those kind of colours. You'll be getting 2 packs of dies, so you're going to be getting the lily and also the clover die here. And of course, you can use these with vellum or your other cardstock. And you'll also be getting your stamens to go with them, so 400 stamens in there. So the price today is £30, $40, or £24, $32 platinum price. The next one is the so more foam. So we've got more foam. We've got this bundle. Basically, you buy 3 and you get 1 for free. So you've got 1 pack of white and you've got 2 packs of green. The platinum price for this is £9.58 or $15.92. Then we have this bundle pack. Bundle pack? I don't know what I'm trying to say there.
Pack off, bundle off?
I don't know. Huge pack. Who knows what I'm trying to say? This is your great, fantastic pack of flower stamens. You've got metallic, floral and natural. So you've got 1,200 stamens in here. So this is £6.32. Wow, that's a hugely good price. Or $9.52. The next one we're going to do is your Edgeables, which I'll get the right one together. So in here, you're going to be getting in this bundle. First of all, you're going to be getting your cardstock. So you've got your Centura Pearl in baby blue, and then you also have your Centura Pearl in cherry. You'll be getting 2 of these Edgeable dies, one with congratulations and one with that Ditsy Daisy on here, which you saw Lily using on that demonstration a little earlier. You'll also be getting 2 of our water reactive ink pads. These are your blue, baby blue, and also your Damson Jam here, which is like a sort of dark kind of purple colour. Then you'll be getting your blending tool with your circular pads here, and also you'll be getting this tool and your a foam roller to get all those little bits and pieces out of those Edgeables. So the price today is £30 or $40. Platinum price is £24.32. Next one is a double-sided dies. Just move those out the way. Pop these under here. So we've got so many things on the table, it's difficult to see what we've got. These are the ones that we showed you earlier on. So once again, you're going to be getting these fabulous dies here. So using your double-sided dies. This one is your string of lights die here. Then you have this one here, which is your retro floral. You'll also be getting this one here, which is this hearts one, which is heart to heart, with all those different little heart shapes in there as well. Then you'll be getting your Centura Pearl in deep purple. Don't sing. And also your Centura Pearl in baby pink as well. And you saw how beautifully those two colours go together in that demonstration that Lily did earlier. Now, a key to this, using these particular dies, are these double-sided plates for your Gemini Junior. So these are really key. These are what you're going to need to use. But you're also going to get a pack of 2 pokey tools in this bundle as well. And so everything you need to use these double-sided dies. And the price, platinum price, is £24 or $32. The next one is your Learn Embossing. Let's pop that down there. Let's grab this one. So this one includes your embossing folders as well as your gilding wax and your card. So you can see here we have, this is your Towering Teacups embossing folder, which is the one you saw on that demonstration. And it looked amazing using that black card and that gilding wax. This one is your Grand Oak. Here's a wonderful kind of tree shape you've got here. This one, we're going to have to stick this together again. This has fallen apart, this one. This one is your With Love. So you've got these 2 embossing folders, top embossing with different hearts on there. But you also have that die to create that banner going in the middle, as well as the stamp too. You'll be getting your pale silver Centura Pearl card, and you'll also be getting your black card as well. And you'll be getting a pot of gilding wax, which, you know, if Craig's pot of gilding wax has lasted him 5 years, this is going to last you even longer. So a fabulous investment. £24 is your platinum price, or $32. And then your final bundle is your Learn to Blend. So on this one, you have 2 packs of watercolour cards. So altogether, you're going to get 30 sheets of watercolour cards, 2 packs of 15 each. This is your A4 watercolour card. You're also going to be getting your dies. So this, why do I call them dies?
They are water reactive dye ink pads. So
that's what it is. Right?
Yeah.
Ink pads. I don't know why I can't remember the word ink pads. I'll have to revise for later on. This is your honey pot. So this is this lovely yellowy orange kind of colour. Then you have your parakeet, which is this bright kind of turquoise colour. And then you have your crushed velvet here, the dark purple colour here. You'll also be getting your fine spray markers here, a pack of 4 here. You'll be getting your blending tool with 2 little pads here. And then you're also going to be getting these blending, what do we call them? Blending sponges, a little bit like the applicators you might use for your makeup, but it's the same kind of principle. So this price, platinum price again, is £24 or $32. So we have some stonkingly good deals for you today. You do need to remember, we also have our penny sale on the website. So you just need to buy 1 item and you get 1 item for a penny, but all the details for that will be on the website. Just have a look for that link. We also have the Riddle Me This promotion going on, and so that's been running all this week. So you will find a riddle, we'll give you a riddle. You have to work out what the item is, have a look on the website for that particular item, and then you will see the amazing deal that we've got for that particular item. And this will continue until this evening at midnight, and then it will all be over. So if you don't know the answer to this, have a think, have a look in the comments. I don't think anyone's actually commented today what it was. I think may have been in the earlier show, somebody may have got it. But you know, we've given you lots of information here, lots of different tools to use on the show. might be a bit of a hint. So the riddle is, workmen use me to build and fix, crafters need me too for those paper craft tricks. I'm essential for all of your crafty makes, but don't blame me for any mistakes. What could it be? What could it be? I've given you plenty of ideas about what it might be. So demo of the show, very difficult vote for everybody. Lily, what one do you think it was?
I think number 1, but I'm usually wrong, so...
No, I think we all thought number 1 and we were all right. Number 1, congratulations, well done, Lily. Absolutely beautiful. And later on, we will do the demo of the week as well. I think that's got a good chance of actually winning for demo of the week, I think. Later on, we've got Second Chance Sunday. What sort of things have you know what we've got on at Second Chance Sunday? What have you got?
I'm trying to remember though, but we've got some brilliant stuff. I know we've got our Christmas puddy stamps there, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some of our Celebrate the Season that we launched with those fabulous stamps, stencils, dies and all sorts that we've got in there. We've got a little bit of that. Some gnomes are going to be popping up as well. So lots and lots of different variety. We're going Christmas, we're going every day. So definitely something for everyone. Highlights across the whole week. So if you have missed any of our shows, then definitely tune back in at 6 because it's going to be a great last show of the week.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the Christmas things because I always seem to miss the Christmas stuff. It was because I was on holiday in July.
Oh, wow.
And that's when all the Christmas bits come out. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to be coming up later on this evening.
Yeah,
have a great afternoon. We will see you back at 6 p.m, 1 p.m. or 10 a.m. depending on where you are. But have a lovely break this afternoon and we'll see you back for Second Chance Sunday.